Chase, what brought you to Tucson?
Really was Coach Joe because I had a connection with him through one of my high school coaches who played for him at Oregon State, and somehow they talked to each other. He saw the film, he liked the film, and it's really how I ended up here.
And then you have merged as a starter. Tell us about the time you got to Arizona and just the grind that you put in to become a starter.
Well, really just after the season I've had at Utah, I just decided like it was time for me to lock in, and I was going into year 3, and I knew the goals that I had for myself and what I wanted, and so just throughout fall camp and in the summer, every day was just a grind, going hard as I could, and just trying to show coaches and teammates what I could do.
Chase, how would you describe these last 2 games and the pressure that you guys have been able to get on the quarterback in front?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'll say for the who we just played, Kansas State and Texas Tech. The Kansas State game, I would just say that the pressure on the quarterback, it was good. We just in that game, we just needed to contain and really just be disciplined in our rush lanes and stuff. And Texas Tech, pressure was good. For us, it's just about, we had 3 sacks that game, so that was a big thing for us because we wanted to turn those pressures into sacks that Trey, myself, and Interior, and everybody else who was coming. So I would say it was a good momentum point for us, just getting to the quarterback and finishing.
In Genesis, just how would you describe the losses that you guys have had with Gunner and Trey, and what that's done to the room, and how you guys have kind of talked that through to get over not having those leaders in there?
Yeah, no, they're definitely key pieces in our room. It was tough initially, still is tough, but that just means new people got to step up. We got a lot of young guys willing to step up, and I think they're ready for the job. And I think Trey and Gunner, they're really still playing a big part in the leadership role in the room. So that's good.
Chase, for you, going back to Utah and being able to play in that game and have a key role in that game, what was that like for you in that moment and getting the win on the road?
I think getting the win, really, that was probably one of the happiest moments just in my college career, just going back there, doing what needed to be done. And it was great seeing a lot of my teammates after the game, or former teammates after the game, but getting that win and going there into a stadium that has a crazy environment, sold out, and just going on the road against the top 10 team, that was big for the team. And, yeah, it was good.
And then where do you think you've developed from your time at Utah to now at Arizona, being a part of the starting D-line?
I think my development has come in just like being more detailed, just with the pass rush, getting stronger instead of just using my speed, mixing it up, going to power a little bit, just learning like all the little details of like pass rush, like when it comes to just my get off, use of my hands, footwork, and just all that.
Genesis, you're getting reps at star and free safety. Tell us about the differences between those two in your assignments and responsibilities.
Yeah, the free safety position, I'm just a lot more last line defense help, and star I'm really a lot more in the box, in the mix. So I like both positions. Can make plays at both of them, but yeah, just great opportunity to go out there and play.
Right here.
For both of you, how would you describe the next man up mentality with some of the injuries that you've had, having to fill in multiple positions? Coach Aquino has talked about being positionless sometimes, and how would you describe how that's going?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of dudes are doing good in the next man mindset, just trying to get in the film room more, trying to know what they're doing when they get out there. So I feel like they're taking it pretty well.
Yeah, and I'll also say that the coaching staff, like Coach B and them, they've done a great job of just like getting everybody ready and prepared, whether it be the starters, second string, scout team. Coach B always tells us that every job is important, so everybody's ready to step up when that moment comes. And unfortunately, we done had some people go down, but the next person always been ready, so we just moving from there.
Go David. Janice, how would you describe how you developed your ability to break on the football? We saw the play in the first half on the screen, you kind of snuffed out, and then there was the third down play in the second half where you were able to dive and get the deflection. How have you been able to kind of develop that skill?
I I feel like it's really just been being in the playbook more, knowing what I have to do before the play starts, and then knowing what the offense, like their tendencies, their scheme. So just thinking of the possibilities of what could happen before it does happen. And I feel like that's how I've been getting some good jumps on some of the plays.
And obviously, we've heard the talk about how it's really all about being a DB versus being a safety, being a corner. Do you think you could play the boundary if that ever came to be?
Yeah, for sure. In spring, I got a lot of work in at boundary safety position. So all 3 DB positions, I feel like I could play.
For both of you, BYU is known for having good quarterbacks. What have you seen from Jake Retzlaff on video, and what makes him a good QB, do you think? I guess start with Genesis, both of you.
Yeah, no, he has really good legs. He has the ability to keep plays going. So in the back end, we definitely have to latch on our man whenever the play keeps on going. And he has a good arm, too. He's pretty accurate, and he has good weapons out there, receivers. So it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, like Jen said, I think something that makes him, I'll say similar to some of the quarterbacks we done played is just his ability to use his legs, and so is the D-line. We just got to know that we got to contain up front, whether that be the edges or the insides, just be disciplined with our rush lanes or whatever the case may be. And we've been doing a good job harping that on practice and just in meetings, so I feel like we're going to be ready for all that.
One follow-up to that. You may not know anything about this, but he's Jewish. He's the first Jewish QB at a Mormon school, and there's some student athletes who are having to make tough decisions about playing on Yom Kippur. Have you heard anything about that, and have you encountered anything like that in your college career?
In my college career, no, I haven't. I haven't really heard or seen anything about that, or if there's any news of him playing or not. But we're always ready for whoever's up. Oh, okay.
Justin?
Yeah, what have you learned just about patience and, being ready for this kind of moment where you're starting, and what have, guys like Trayden and Gunnar and Dalton, what have they done for your development?
Yeah, just last year, they would always harp on me, just focus on the details, get in the film room. So I would be in the film room a lot, trying to get the playbook down. Just as soon as I got in here, be in the film room every day with Coach RC, just trying to learn everything, all the ins and outs of every position. So they've been really vocal for me in that.
And Coach Brennan has talked about your kind of your infectious personality and the joy you have for the game. Where does that come from?
I say my pops. He's a real funny, humorous dude. So, and just the big family that I have, I feel like just being around a bunch of people, we're always like laughing, having fun. So I feel like I just when I get around the football team, it's just like a big family, and I just continue to do it.
Chase, I know last week Texas Tech's quarterback wasn't necessarily a running quarterback, but Utah's was, Kansas State obviously, New Mexico. How do you think you guys have developed against running dual threat quarterbacks, and how does it help you for this game coming up against BYU?
I think we developed a lot on it just by facing the ones we faced, going back, watching the film, seeing what could have been done differently, whether that's not making an inside move, not being latched on to tackle too long or whatever. So I just feel like we've been just going over all the little details to help us improve in that area. So, yeah.
Last question, Jason.
What is it about, Matt Atkins said this the other day, the different side of the ball. What is it about opposing stadiums that you think brings you guys together and kind of helps you raise to the challenge?
I really just think because we a family, so, we know when we go into an opposing stadium on the road that sideline is all we got most of the time. Like, stadium not going to be filled with Arizona fans. Like, when we went to Utah, it was like one little section of it. So we know we all we got when we go on the road, and so that's how we play and that's how we look at it.
Yeah, like you said, just knowing a big thing we say is called lean on me. So just knowing we can lean on the teammate, knowing we can trust the person next to us.
All right, that's our time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Genesis Smith potentially getting a start? What have you seen out of his growth, and what do you think about him being inserted in the starting lineup?
Well, you know, Genesis has really worked to model his game off of Stooks. So if you've noticed, he's really been playing for us right now 4 positions. You know, we haven't been able to get to our dollar stuff because, you know, just because of the numbers. It's been one of those seasons. But you'll see him at the star position. You'll see him at the free safety position. You'll see him at the boundary safety position, which is really, you know, guys like that, and like Stooks did, as he did in the Oklahoma game, where we had to plug him in late due to injuries, and he ran out there and played corner without playing it since the Mississippi State game, and just was really able to, when they went into their 3-by-1 stuff, be able to lock down that ex-receiver. You know, guys like that have great value to your football team.
Trayden going out, what do you make of that?
You know, that's a sad situation, you know, for the young man. And I'm not going to slight, you know, the value he has for this football team, because he's very important to this football team as a model, as a player, his unselfishness. You know, when you see him in the Utah game, hurry up, trainers, I got to get out there. I mean, he's taking notes on the sideline. A guy that should be feeling sorry for himself and about his feelings, he is just finding another way to help us win football games. You know, one of the young players missed an assignment on a big play there. Stooks had notes. By the time I got in at halftime, I said, hey, RC, draw it up. He said, Coach, Stooks has already gone through it. I mean, you just can't have that kind of models in your program. And that's the culture that we've worked hard to build within the DB room, but also in the defensive room. And I constantly look for ways to have team building experiences, and that is one of the best that you can talk about. And that is going to be an example that will live far beyond 2024. I'll constantly use that as an example of what a great teammate looks like.
Coach, based off what you just said there, I mean, it's so easy for all of you to say next man up, but when you have to replace captains like Trayden and Gunner, how do you do that?
Well, that's just all part of the game. It's one of those situations. We've been through this before. This is the nature of this football game. And as I said with Gunner, I'm not going to slight that. Those are important pieces to the success of the game and of our football team. But like I said, Manny went out there and had to start at the Utah game and had a hell of a football game, okay? And then Genesis had to come in and play nickel, where his natural position is field safety, when Stooks went down. So it is next man up, and that is your mentality, and that's why you constantly have to preach to your team that you are a play away. And now you got to be prepared. And that's coming from a guy who backed up a first ballot Hall of Famer in Moon, and they expect still the same production out of you. That's the facts. So you always have to be ready. We preach that constantly. And, you know, I know it's a boring saying, but it is the reality. It is the next man up.
What would you say in terms of the progression of Jack Luttrell, what you've seen from him, and what you hope he might potentially be able to add if his numbers call?
Yeah, Jackie's an outstanding athlete, you know, very passionate about the game. And what Jack is learning, like a lot of young players, the game is not played on paper where you run and jump. He's got all those things. The game is played on the grass. And so, you know, many times he's just learning the mental side of the game. Sometimes as young players, you have to go through growing pains. That's the facts of life. And we just got to keep bringing him along. And as coaches, that's where we have to know what can we handle, you know, each player. And I've been spoiled now with Dalton, Gunner, and Stooks. Those are as high IQ players as I've had. And you stick Manu in the middle of the field, I mean, you know, that's the guts of any sport, is the middle of your defense. You know, I go back to when Willis Reed and Chamberlain, I used to say all that. Now those guys are non-existent, but it's the point guard, or it's the catcher, the pitcher, the shortstop, the center fielder. In hockey, it's the goalie. You got to be strong up inside. And so they have had great models in how to do it with Gunner and with Stooks and those guys, and we still have Dalton out there. So, all you can do as a coach, as a football team, it is next man up. Let's go play. Somebody put the ball on the ground, blow a whistle, because BYU will be there. We're going to play. So.
Obviously, injuries, like we've said, are tough to overcome, but much does it help you and your team in terms of having a guy like Emilio Parmley, who's developed, Gosh Killadu, and others that have seen playing time throughout this season and not just fresh blood that hasn't seen the field?
Yeah, so, they have both so we have created some depth on the outside pieces. Owen Goss has come in last week and played better. And, that's all we ask is let's just be one play better, one game better, and they're growing in the right way. And, like I said, as a coach, you can look at the cup of water however you choose to, Is it empty? Is it full? And all you can do is talk about the good things that they have done, because there is a lot of positive plays that they have put on tape. And that's what we need to keep embracing and growing on, because that's where it's there, and that's where we're going to move forward with it. And we just got to figure out, as the week wears on, what can we do back there, And if we have to keep cutting so we can execute to play fast, because you guys heard me say it before, I just want to do a few things, but do it real well so we can play, we can run and hit. And I believe that's what this defense has done, because they had a heck of a second half. And, in this last game, there was a lot of tough situations, but to have 7 3-and-outs is phenomenal. Okay, to go in the second half and go 3-and-out, take away, 3-and-out, take away, 3-and-out, and we were short a couple great players at the time. So, hey, let's just jump in there, let's go play, and let's see where it goes.
That's the key to kind of this development of the defense, the progress of the defense, the simplification of go out and play instead of overthinking things out there on the field.
Well, we've been doing that for a lot of years. This is not the first season we have done this, that's what the previous Arizona defenses were built on. And when I went to Texas, that's what we did at Texas. Stanford, it was a little bit more, but when I got there, I kept chopping it down because it's just so hard to play a bunch of defenses. Let's just feel the ones that, we feel like will fit in this game plan, and what can we execute is always part of it. Because it still comes down to taking what I always say, taking the thinking out of the game, and just see and react. And part of our meetings are that way, where, I'm asking questions in an air-conditioned environment, but I don't want too late. The ball's gone already. Question, answer, so you just reps, just continuing to get reps mentally. Wherever we can try to create a situation like that, whether it's in the classroom, we'll have a walkthrough, then it's at practice on the grass, because when you get into the big stadium, and this is going to be another exciting yard. BYU was our rival when I was at the University of Hawaii back in '81. So I lined up against Jim McMahon, Steve Young, and Robbie Bosco. So I've been in that gym. That is an exciting yard to play in. So I'm excited to get back there. It's a great environment.
We asked Coach Brennan about the factor of elevation. What has been your experience with that, and do you think it'll be something that factors in come Saturday?
Only if you think so and talk about it. For us, we don't talk about that. This is decent elevation too. I don't know what it is, but like I said, we played in it back in when we were at the University of Hawaii. I didn't think it was anything big. The problem when we played that the last time was Steve Young. Much more than the elevation.
What do you see from BYU's offense?
It's another very disciplined offense, and you would think, just go look at the ages of those guys. What did they say? 62 children, I think, within their football team. But that's what it is, because you have your redshirt year, you have your mission year, so they're a very mature football team. They're physical. Their quarterback, I think his legs will be involved again, that we got to do a great job with that, as always, managing the run game. Very efficient throwing the football. Once again, built much like Utah, I think, with a solid physical defense and an offense that is taking care of the ball. And they have, I think, taken advantage of making plays. And, you know, where we did a really good job in the Utah game when plays presented itself, we made them, and that's where we were just a little short against Tech, because there was a couple plays that presented themselves. We just needed to finish it. You know, there was a knockdown pass. It could have been an interception and some of those things. So we've worked hard on our takeaway circuit again, as we always do every week. We punched a few out, but there were some other opportunities out there for the defense.
And then Owen Goss will likely have a bigger role than he's had. How would you assess his play and your confidence in him?
You know, he's growing every week. You know, every week he's gotten a little bit better. And, you know, for him, he's following a guy is a tough follow in Stooks, you know, because the bar is so high at that position. And Stooks has done a great job of taking him under the wing and constantly helping with him. So, you know, seeing the game's starting to slow down a little bit for him, which is natural for young players. So I expect him to be a game better. We have the ability to play Genesis there and move some pieces around, you know, and maybe it's a game where Jack will have an opportunity to come in and play. So, you know, right now from my position, you play things by feel a little bit as you watch how they're preparing this week too, and what's on our practice tape.
All right, that's our time.
Yeah, thank you guys. You guys been to BYU before? Oh, it's beautiful. Those mountains and all of that. Yeah.